Assalamualaikum and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to acknowledge the presence of our honorable guests. Our event will begin shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates and participants, welcome and selamat datang to the inaugural International Conference on Sustainable Development for Community Empowerment unitE 2023, organized by the Community Network Center CNC, Office of Industry, Community and Alumni Network ICAN, Universiti Teknologi Mara. We are gathered here today to embark on a journey of knowledge sharing, collaboration, and innovation in pursuit of a brighter and more empowered future for communities worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, unitE 2023 strives to serve as a knowledge-sharing platform in the field of sustainable development for community empowerment among higher education institutions, as well as non-governmental organizations and corporations that are actively engaged in community development. The theme of this year's conference, Strengthening the Community through University-Community Partnership, resonates deeply in today's world. Over the next 2 days, we hope that all of you will find the program we have lined up for you to be fruitful and engaging. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Yang Berbahagia, Professor Dr. Muhammad Hariri Abdullah, to deliver his welcoming address.
Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyafi Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera and a very good morning to our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings and welcome everyone. Actually, it is a great pleasure for me to be in this event, to welcome everyone for the first ever international conference on the Sustainable Development for Community Empowerment, or we call it unitE 2023. And this is been hosted by the Office of Industry, Community and Alumni Network. In short form, we call it ICAN, from the Universiti Teknologi Mara, also known as ITM. And I would like to congratulate for the Community Network Center, or CNC, in the Office of ICAN for arranging such a very important event, and in which I believe in this event is not about presenting the paper, it's very much about how we can share our experiences to go through with the community. To our special guest, the Vice Chancellor of UiTM, Professor Datuk Technologist Hajar Roziah Muhammad Jano, for being in this event this morning. It's an honor to us to be in the first ever conference that being conducted by the ICAN, and also to our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Abang Zainoren Abang Abdul Rahman, Deputy Director of ICAN from UiTM Sarawak. And also not to forget, I would like to welcome Associate Professor Sulikah Asmorowati, Deputy Dean for the Resources, Faculty of Social and Political Science from Airlangga Universiti, Indonesia, and also Dr. Esyin, Director of Eureka Robotics Center from the Cardiff Metropolitan, United Kingdom. And also big thank you to everyone who are able to be with us today. And for all the presenters, on behalf of the management of the university, I'd like to say thank you very much for your participation, because for us, it's not about just to share your paper here, but very much about to share the experiences, how you deal with the community, what are the experiences that we can learn from one another. So I'm grateful to everyone who has agreed to share the knowledge for the team that we have set up, which is strengthening the community through university community partnership. And I really hope to everyone that we will have a many fruitful and rewarding exchanges over the next 2 days of pondering and also discussing the various topic of interest in the unitE 2023. Even though our focus are very much into the social and economic empowerment, as well the university, industry and community collaboration, I believe all the 20 presenters have their own uniqueness in what they're going to share. And I believe from these 20 papers that will be presented, there must be some interesting thing to be discussed across that may affect in terms of culture, in terms of belief, in terms of the tradition, and not to forget also about the religion as well, the upbringing of the particular community. I'm sure for each region we have our own interesting things that can be learned from one to another. So it is important milestone actually for UiTM long-standing effort to encourage a vigorous engagement to address to the real world problem within the sustainable practical solution for our communities. So as I mentioned earlier, this will be the best platform for everyone actually that come from various organization or various university or academic institution or whatever you are. Those experiences actually is not only for the student, not only for the academician. I'm sure some of those what you went through can be learned and can be practiced through our own linkages with the industry and maybe as well through the alumni of our own institution. So through concentrated effort from everyone at the CNC and also from the ICAN, in particular on the strategic initiative helmed by the various entities across the ITM. For your information, we have 34 campuses and also 4 colleges, 14 faculties across the whole UiTM system, and with 180,000 students that we have. And for this coming convocation as well, we're going to commemorate 1 million scroll. I believe this opportunity is not only will bring the value of UiTM as the organizer, but I'm sure for everyone who been involved in this event today. So at present, we were talking for the last year event, UiTM have involved in with 1,494 registered community projects, with the value is about with a value of about 3.3 million from the external funding. And our intention when we get involved with the community actually is not about helping the community as part of the community community social responsibility. Actually, it's beyond that. That's why when we engage with the community, there are 3 things. We call it the COEE. We collaborate, we find the opportunity, we engage, and then how to execute. And from those, we have 5 pillars, and one of the pillars that we have about the talent. So in this talent, actually, when we talk about the talent, how we ensure that through our talent, our student, the staff academic, the non-academic staff, and most important as our own asset is the alumni itself, and how this community that we have in the UiTM able to reach the netizen out there and to tap with their SDG 17, which is number 1, the zero poverty. So therefore that will become one of our mission in a way for us to engage with the government agenda to reduce the poverty among the community itself. So in this manner also, not only to reduce the poverty, most important as well, one of the vision for our university is to create more entrepreneurs. And these entrepreneurs not necessarily coming from our own student alone, but how we can tap our student with the outside community in a way that we transfer the knowledge from the classroom into the reality of the community. So in this manner, there will be 3 things. Number 1, we involve the knowledge transfer, the technology transfer, and most important in some situation is about the in-kind value that we can give back to the community through the intellectual that been given to us. So in this project, it will reflect one important core project in ICAN. We call it KASEH. So in the project of KASEH on knowledge transfer and social innovation engagement and research helix, So there are things that, number one is about the transfer knowledge, number two is about the long-term project, and then it's about the research element, and then quadruple helix and positive impact. This is very important to us, and in this manner we call it our Formula 3. You engage, and then you execute, and then most important, how we able to ensure that the project can be sustained. So we don't want the one-off project to be across the university when we did the project with the community. So in this manner, actually, to all ladies and gentlemen, we would like to see what is the best outcome of dedication and resilience of both seasoned and upcoming researcher, innovators and entrepreneur. So in this manner, actually, linkages with the industry is very important. It's not only to be a sponsor for the program, but for us, the industry linkages, they become part of our collaborator, how they can also bring their technology transfer, their knowledge transfer through the real reality experiences together with our staff, with our students, and we give to the community. So in this manner, again, we need to be committed to proactively manage and the changes we face each other, and also the seize the opportunity to make the best of the situation in our midst. So in closing, I would like to thank everyone, to all the participants, the sponsors, committee members, and everyone who involved, the presenter, the committee members, and most importantly, I would like to say congratulations once again to the Community Network Center who were able to organize such a great event. And I'm sure this event is not going to be the first and the last. As I mentioned earlier, it's about the sustain. This is going to be the beginning, and we're looking forward that next year, this event not only to be conducted in Malaysia, maybe our collaborators from Indonesia and from other countries can be part of our organizers as well in the future. So we're not going to make this event only for UTM. Let's make it as a world platform for us to share about the community engagement in between higher learning institution, the industry, and as well the government agencies out there. So with that, once again, I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone, and have a good day.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Muhammad Hariri, for the wonderful welcoming speech. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, now I would like to cordially invite Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Hajah Roziah Muhammad Jano to deliver the officiating speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, greetings and welcome everyone. I am pleased to join you today at this year's virtual international conference on sustainable development for community empowerment, or in short, unitE 2023, organized by the Community Network Center, CNC, Office of Industry, Community and Alumni Network, ICAN, Universiti Teknologi Mara, UITM. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all our esteemed keynote speakers for making time to be here with us. Thank you very much, Prof. Dr. Abang Zainoren Abdul Rahman from UITM, Associate Professor Sulikah Asmorowati from Airlangga University, and Dr. Esyin from Cardiff in Metropolitan University. I'm sure our audience eagerly await your insights and best practices on sustainable community projects. Ladies and gentlemen, considering the strong momentum towards building a better, more sustainable world, as well as the challenging circumstances we find ourselves in with economic pitfalls, technological disruptions, and climate change, making agile strategies to protect and create new sources of value for future generations have become more important than ever. As institutions of higher learning, it is our responsibility to transition to more sustainable practices and reduce our carbon footprint to minimize further damage. Our students need skills and knowledge to respond to these present challenges and those yet to come. We need to lead by example. We need to be an able, innovative, and collected academia that can formulate practical solutions. We need strategies that take advantage of our connected world to offer new ways to build value, unlock new opportunities, and maximize success. Hence, why I'm happy to see the strong emphasis on impactful community projects that align with the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, among the many projects involving UiTM and our tertiary and industry partners, particularly in the ASEAN region, are in the pursuit of fostering for sustainable development. Noteworthy among the relevant SDGs are: number 1, No Poverty, SDG 1, where we employ strategies to tackle poverty within vulnerable communities and create livelihood opportunities for them. Next, in Quality Education, SDG 4, where we offer access to quality education which resonates closely with UiTM's role as a premier higher education institution that champions lifelong learning. Then there's Sustainable Cities and Communities, SDG 11, where we strive to enhance elements like housing and public space access to ensure communities are more inclusive and secure. And lastly, Partnerships for the Goals, SDG 17, where effective collaboration is highly encouraged among local authorities, non-governmental organizations, businesses, and stakeholders to harness resources and expertise for the sustainable development of communities. Some of the notable projects UiTM is involved in include U4S, University for Society, which has received backing from the Ministry of Higher Education. This ongoing collaboration with the University of Malaya, UM, and the International Islamic University, IIUM, aims to help the urban poor through a financial independence strategy for community entrepreneur, or in short, FISEN project. The targeted community are given training in entrepreneurship and digital marketing. The project has also attracted participation from Kuala Lumpur City Hall and Pfizer. Another collaborative project UiTM is involved in is the Agro Farm to You project, using homegrown fertigation techniques and digital farming through the Internet of Things, IoT technologies. The initiative equips the community with contemporary agricultural data collection and monitoring methods, enabling better control over environmental factors. And the project is helping the local community enhance the crop yield and productivity. These highlighted projects underscore UiTM's commitment to impactful endeavors with foster positive outcomes. We will continue to engage in industry collaborative and contribute to community empowerment. I assure you that UiTM remains steadfast in its commitment to such ventures, further solidifying the university's role as a catalyst for community progress. We also welcome new partnerships where our shared expertise can strengthen the capabilities of communities to adapt, evolve, and transform. I am certain that as participants of the conference, many of you will use the knowledge and skills that you gain from the sharing session at unitE 2023 to make a positive impact in the lives of others. Remember to do well, do good, and do it together. And finally, I would like to congratulate everyone at ICAN and CNC for your tireless efforts to help encourage and uplift collaborative engagements to expand a more sustainable and efficient community ecosystem. And on that note, I hereby declare the International Conference on Sustainable Development for Community Empowerment, unitE 2023, officially open. Thank you.
Thank you Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Hajah Roziah Muhammad Jano for the speech. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed participants, we are honored to have several distinguished personalities with us today who have contributed significantly to the fields of sustainable development and community empowerment. Let us express our gratitude and welcome Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Abang Zainoren Abang Abdul Rahman, the Deputy Director of Research and Industrial Network UiTM Cawangan Sarawak, Associate Professor Dr. Sulikah Asmorowati, Deputy Dean for Resources, Faculty of Social and Political Science and Universitas Airlangga, Indonesia, and Dr. Esyin, Director of Eureka Robotics Centre, Cardiff School of Technologies, Cardiff Metropolitan University. Your presence truly inspires us. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed participants, now I would like to introduce the first keynote speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Sulikah Asmorowati. Associate Professor Sulikah is the Deputy Dean for Resources, Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Airlangga University, Indonesia. She has more than 15 years' experience in professional and community service. She has worked with various organizations to create impactful community-driven programs. Currently, she is involved in the Community Development Project, co-production pada Kata Kelola Governance Desa Margomulyo berbasis Local Wisdom Masyarakat Samin. In addition, she obtained her Master's and PhD in Development Studies from Melbourne University and has extensively published academic journals. Some of her recent works include the study of the manipulation of religion and the legalization of underage marriages in Indonesia and Pelan Polisi Entrepreneur dalam Pembangunan Ibu Kota Negara. With the support of the Airlangga Research Fund in 2023, she is currently delving into a case study of governance capacity for elderly groups in efforts to achieve sustainable development goals. She is also a passionate advocate for women's empowerment and has actively worked towards promoting gender equality. In 2019, she received an Alumni Grant Scheme Award from Indonesia to examine Leadership and Post-Award Indonesian Women Alumni. Her extensive experience and knowledge in the field, fueled by her dedication to empowering communities, are evident in the positive impact on the quality of life for those she collaborates with. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed participants, now let us welcome Associate Professor Dr. Sulikah Asmorowati to deliver her keynote speech. Dr. Sulikah, please welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Hello, everyone. And first of all, I would like to thank you to the committee, the convener of this conference, as well as all the participants here who have me in this session. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let me introduce myself. I'm Sulikah Asmorowati, and everyone usually call me Ika, my nickname. So just feel free to call me with that name. And I'm the Vice Dean for Resources in the Faculty of Social and Political Science. And I'm also a lecturer in Public Administration Department. And before I'm starting my conversation as well as presentation today, which I deliberately looking at the sustainable development for community empowerment, especially in the theoretical perspective and conceptual framework. I know some theoretical or conceptual framework are boring. That's why I try to get some practical stuff as well as a wake up call for everyone here as well as for us as individual or as part of institution, with all the institution that we are affiliates to. It is a wake up call how we can then contribute to sustainable development as well as the achievement of sustainable development goals later on. Next, can we have next for the PPT, please, the committee? Thank you. Yes.
Don't be confused with the pictures I send to you. It's Earth, but it's our Earth. But by the time you see this, our Earth will be long gone, replaced by your Earth, horrible Earth. And to you, the future generations, we are deeply sorry about that. So many beautiful things that we have now, and all good things that nature has granted to us that you won't be able to have, to see, you won't be able to touch. Sorry, we have polluted your air for a long time. Sorry for our production and consumption habit bring damage to your earth. Sorry that we can't stop ruining the oceans, the forests, and the soil. Sorry for the carbon dioxide we kept releasing. We see the signs, but we decide to do something else in the name of civilizations. We forget what's good of that if there will be no future. No such thing what to call a civilization. We are sorry for stealing your future. Above all, we are sorry that the whole world can do enough to give you a beautiful and safe planet that you can call home. We feel on our responsibility, but you can still save your future for your children. I give you the seeds, plant them one by one until it clears your air, your atmosphere, restore the climate. Dear children of the future, you can still save the earth. Don't wait, act now. And once again, we are deeply sorry. Do not repeat our mistake.
Everyone, I do hope you enjoy the company profile of Airlangga University. We made the video on the 2020, and indeed we won the best corporate video at that time, and it was held in Kuala Lumpur, if I'm not mistaken. Well, everyone, the video I deliberately present for us to see together is like we can imagine how destructive the global warming, the climate change, if we're not like caring for the sustainability of the world as well as of development. And now let's continue to my presentation. And I deliberately also choose this yellow color, like similar to the video that we looked before. Like all are yellow. It's like a sign of dryness, etc. Yeah, and what we aim is we want a more green stuff, green living, save our environment, etc. I think all the goals of this conference is we want the sustainable life for our both. Yeah, and we'll move on now straight away to the presentation. Please move to the next slide. Yes, this is our corporate video that we have seen. And now let's just look at the sustainable development. It is a buzzword of international development and public policy lexicon. If we want to look at the Google, for example, and just typing sustainable development, it will come up with 1,010,000 result. And it also features in over 8 million web pages, yeah, etc. It's just a buzzword that everyone will love that word and try to seek to discuss as well as to develop and put into agenda that sustainable development has to be a priority in everyone and every country's development. Next, please. Yeah, and for the sustainable development, we can see from the history, it was first initiated in 1972 from the Stockholm Conference on the Human Environment. The title was last time was Conflict Between Environment and Development. It was the first acknowledgement of how environment has to be taken care of and everyone has to stay alert about the environment destruction at that time. And moving to 1980, next progress of the history of environment in the world development is the World Conservation Strategy of the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. They argued for conservation as a means to assist development and specifically for the sustainable development and utilization of species, ecosystem, and resources. And we move now to the 1982, in which the General Assembly of the United Nations also initiated the World Commission on Environment of Development. So this is some of the milestone, the important dates and timeline of the importance of acknowledgement of environment in development. Next, please. Yeah, and we also can highlight the report on our common future on the 1987 by Brundtland Commission in the together with Agenda 2021, Agenda 21. It's the government strategy. They want to build upon and harmonize the various sectoral, economic, social, and environment policies, as well as plan they are operating in the country. As we can see, this 1987 has been successful in forming the international ties between government as well as multinational corporation. It is also the aim of our unitE 2023, in which there is a linkage between the industrial as well as the university and education, more especially. And this our common future also describe sustainability as three-legged stool with people, planet, and profit taking equal importance in the equation. We can like search more on the Agenda 21, in which we also can see the action plan of the United Nations with regard to the sustainable development. Again, this is the remarkable milestone of the sustainable development. Next, please. Why sustainable development? We can see now the current practice, the current case, as well as the international phenomena happening in regards to climate change, etc. Next, please. Yeah. Now, we can see now from the planetary boundaries why sustainable development is really important. As we can see, like the whole climate change are all the problems in the world, as well as in many countries in the world. And then ocean acidification, and then ozone depletion, etc. We always care about how our sea, our ocean is not clean anymore, or polluted, etc. All this pollution as well as global warming, climate change are becoming our concern in this sustainable development are so important. Next, please. Yeah, and we can see now the example of climate change, for example, like in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and of course sometimes happening in many other countries as well. We often experience extreme rainfall events in which there is increase in floods or soil erosion, but in other part of the world, there is a water shortage, for example, drought, etc. Like some extreme weather that sign the what is it called, the emergency of climate change. And then there is also water exceed, extreme rainfall, water quality, which is not good anymore. People like we have like national water company, but we rarely use the water for drinking. We instead using the water produced by our national water company for showering, for example. It means like we always questioning the water quality. And sea level rise, increase in erosion of sedimentation, as well as global warming, of course, is the sign of climate change that we should stay alert on it. Next, please. Yeah, and then now, what is actually sustainable development? We will overview the definition as well as the concept as conceptual framework. Next, please. Yeah. If we refer to the World Commission on Environment and Development, the meaning of sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This is our common future, 1987. And this definition of sustainable development remain relevant, and the goals we wanted to ensure social responsible economic development while protecting the resources space and the environment for the benefit of future generation. And of course, this have to be developed in the widest possible participation. The meaning is there. It's like always relevant. What we need to consider now regarding the meaning is what is actually the future generation needs, that things that we need to consider. Yeah, like for example, our human needs, last 1970s or 1980s, the human needs are maybe just comprised of food, and then clothes, as well as home, yeah, or house, for them to be secure and safe. But then the human needs are evolving. We now concern on like education, and then health, yeah, good health as a standard of living. And then with the human development index, we also want to like the expectation of life also becoming a need. And then it's becoming evolving again, in which development now like uh, asking the human rights become the human's needs, yeah, or basic necessity, human rights. And in today's society, for example, in the revolution industry 4.0 and society 5.0, we now like looking at the fact that the needs of generation today is the digital transformation. They need internet, they need Wi-Fi. This is the generation needs today. How about next, the future generation needs? What are the needs? Now, this is what we need to always consider as well as bear in mind, so that we can have clear idea of what we have to provide. But among those variation or evolving needs of the human, what we really need is that our world, our earth is becoming sustainable, so that it's become a peaceful living environment for all the community and all the humans in the planets. And let's now move on. Next, please. Yeah. So with that widely accepted definition, it's like creating a creative ambiguous. Yeah, it's also lead to several significant questions, as I have discussed before. What will the future generation needs? Yeah, more ICT, more digital needs, or what else? The green environment, for example, or what else? Yeah, this I have discussed before. Next, please. Yeah. So we use resources faster than previous years. This is the equivalent with the growth of the population. We remember the population are growth faster than the resources. This is also we have to taking care of. And then more ICT or digital needs are currently very significant, and more green environment is a consider as the future generation needs, or what else we can list next future generation needs, of course. Next, please. Yeah, and we come now to the framework of sustainable development, in which there are between three aspects of development. We care about how environmental aspect, including the natural resources, as well as environmental protection, as well as social environment, and the economic aspect, in which we create the sustainable development in the center, in which the development that is sustainable require a balance between the social, economic, and environmental development. Of course, if we want to like high economic growth, we cannot just destroy our forest, for example. If we want to like open the forest, for example, we have to care about how the environment also taken care of, like planting other trees in other land, other part of the community, for example. That's an example of balancing between the economic and environmental development. And of course, the social aspect also has to be taken care of. Like we have to, if for example we want to open a forest, for example, we have to mind about the indigenous people there, the local community around the forest, how they can impacted by those development. Again, with the framework of sustainable development, we have to take care of these three main aspect, the environment, economic, and social aspect. Now let's move on, please, to the next slide. Yes, and now more current view of sustainable development. This is the early 2000s era. Like now, the view of sustainable development, not only these three aspect of development, not only economic, environment, and social, but it has been broadened to include issues such as healthcare as well as education. And we can see, for example, Morris 2002, in which he looked at the constraint of economic development, which also involve the needs to incorporate healthcare as well as education. Next, please. Yeah. And I also would like to highlight some debates on the sustainable development so that we can have a clear thought on what's happening actually and what the debates around the sustainable development. Next, please. Yeah. Sustainable development, we always concerned with how poverty and then environmental degradation, disease, and all other world problems are due to the developed countries. So, this is like previous view in which poverty, environmental degradation, disease, and all other world problems are due to developed countries because the developed countries consume more, they develop more, and sometimes they pollute it more and creating problems for other world. Other world means like developing countries or the middle or even low level countries. Yeah. So with this view, we look at the people in the rich world consume a great portion of world resources and emit to great proportion of the world pollution. Again, this is the first view. And the second view, next please. Yeah. The next view or the alternative view, it view that most of the world poor problems are the result of unsustainable policies by their own government, especially due to massive industrialization to boost economic growth. We know that after Second World War, many countries were doing their development massively. They like boost their industrialization as well as economic growth, which in result they cutting lots of trees as well as creating more pollution created by their own development. So again, this is the alternative view in contrast to the previous view of sustainable development and its problems. Next, please. Yeah, and then we look at how policy transformation and opportunity can create a sustainable development. Next, please. We call what we say outcome-oriented policy, and it was initiated by the UN, United Nations, European government, and the European Union institution. With the outcome-oriented policy, there is a centralized control over the use of resources, and this decentralized control over the use of resources is necessary to prevent human from depleting stock of resources. Again, this is the international policy change as well as the international policy instrument that can be used to overcome those problems that we have mentioned before. Next, please. But there is also the challenge. So with those control by the UN as well as the international body, there is a challenge of interaction between culture, structure, and technology optimization, improvement and renewal of the party involved. It also some of the challenge like how everyone involved, party involved can get negotiated value, can have power in decision making. Some of the challenge of inclusiveness, and there is also the challenge of human needs starting points. Human needs, again, human needs is always evolving, but at the same time, before having human needs, you also have to do the eco-efficiency as well as innovation. And there is also the challenge of the fact that most of the poor food problems are the result of unsustainable policy by their own government. This is the one that we have discussed before. So this is the challenge, and then we can see what next that we can do. Next, please. Yeah. So some tools or measure already taken. Yeah. So this is the international initiative as well as measure they already formulated and implemented before, sweeping restriction on the use of resources, and then there is also a policy including wide-ranging intervention in the global governance and multinational aid, yeah, and funding or donors agencies, and then the behavior of multinational companies, restriction on international trade, and some, or more importantly, is the tools or the measure to encourage sustainable policies. What is these sustainable policies? It's not only prescribe an outcome for society, but it's allow individual to improve their own lot without harming that of others based on the creation of property right and the rule of law as well as free market. So this is some of the measure that we can take to create some sustainable development, work and effort. Next, please. Yeah, and again some of the debate. Next. Okay, and now I will move on to the community empowerment. What is it, and then how would community empowerment contribute to the sustainable development? Next, please. Again, some of the theoretical perspective, some of a definition that can lie as a foundation of, well, how, why, and how can community empowerment be achieved and contribute to community development as well as sustainable development. Community empowerment is the shift control over government decision and responsibility to community-based entities. This can be starting from neighborhood organization, public housing tenant, business association, as long as they creating power sharing arrangement between them and government. This is the community empowerment by government, of course, and in terms of our conference today, of course, the community empowerment, we want to all the community can also contribute to the achievement and advancement of how education can empower community as well as creating more sustainable development, of course. Next, please. Yeah, and this is the empowerment principle according to Putri 2019. We can see with empowerment, it involves awareness that everyone and or from individual, organization, institutional, they are aware that they have power, that they can influence other, they can have a voice in decision making. This awareness is important, and then part of this awareness, empowerment principle also require education and training, because sometimes empowerment cannot just appear by itself. It has to be learned, it has to be trained so that those empowerment can be optimized. And there is also the network strengthening. Network strengthening, it means that we collaborate to others, we interact with those who can facilitate the community or facilitate us to promote the awareness, for example, to give education and training, for example. So this is network strengthening are important, especially we are now living in the whole digital revolution in which networking like can be unlimited 24 hours 7 by email, by WA, by TikTok, by YouTube, by everything. Yeah, it means like we are doing the networking. And the community empowerment also require development of the strength. We know the SWOT analysis in the management, strength, weaknesses, opportunity, as well as challenge. And in this empowerment, we concentrate or focus on development strengths of individual as well as community. And we also need to strengthening our social capital, of course, how we can interact with the social closer to us, our neighbor, and we have a strong social capital in there. And also strengthening capacity is important, and also recognition. These all principle of empowerment has to be there if we want to empower the community for sustainable development. They have to have awareness, recognition, etc., education and training about sustainable development. They have to have a strong network between stakeholders. Next, please. Yeah. And again, empowerment can be done by personal, organizational, family, as well as community or collective. It just depend on which one we gonna go. We wanna do the individual or personal effort in terms of empowering ourselves or empowering community for the sustainable development, or we wanna through our organization, our family, or more community or collective action. Next, please. Personal empowerment by Labonte. This is the from passive to action as well as to empowerment. So at some stage, individual will want to address the broader, but it has to be like come from a sense of individual control as well as proactive and critical approach to life. And we also get the community personnel. Next, please. Community empowerment, I mean, sorry. Yeah. The community empowerment is a process by which disadvantaged people work together to increase control over events that influence their life. And this is also a process and an outcome often leading to social and political change. This is what we aim for later on. That we can lead to social change. The community can have more awareness as well as taking care of our earth through sustainable development concept and framework. Next, please. Yeah, and this is the continuum of collective empowerment. Again, we start from the personal action. So it's really the matter of whether we want to contribute to the empowerment and the creation of sustainable development. And then we can like join a small groups or the community organization, or we want to like more broader or bigger level through a partnership as well as action for social and political change. This is the biggest or largest scale of collective empowerment. Next, please. Yeah, and this is the building community empowerment framework. We can see from how community can participate through community participation, and then we can also look at problem assessment in looking at their capacities, local leadership, resources mobilization, organizational structure, as well as some of the equitable relationship with outside agents. So this is things that we can initiate, yeah, to build a community empowerment. Next, please. Yeah, and the capable community. What is the capable community? They can be a capable community if they have both social and geographic dimension, in which individual and groups can interact, take action toward achieving shared goals. That is a community of interest. Jadi it's not only the interest of an individual or themselves, egoistic, yeah, but again it's about the community goals. And there is also the existence of functional leadership is important, in which established community participation are all the driver of capable community. Next, please. I'm afraid if I'm run out of time, so I'm not gonna read all the detail. Next, please. Yeah, this is the matrix of empowerment. This is like some that we can use to ensure that community empowerment or initiative or effort to empower others can be fulfilled. Yeah. So if like we want to improve participation, we can assess. why, how to improve the strategy, and what resources needed. Again, increase problem assessment capacities. We also can see how we can assess and then put into rank. And then we can analyze or identify why, how to improve, what is the strategy, and the resources that are available for us to push this increased problem assessment capacities. And again, similar to this criteria under good organizational structure. With this matrix, we can then we have clear idea or how we can empower our community. What are strategy needed? What resources needed? What, for example, human resources needs, the financial needs, we can clear with this matrix. Next, please. For example, this one, how sustainable development can contribute to community empowerment. We can have these 5 must do or must have aspect. Yeah, inclusivity and participation is a must, in which we also concern with the health and well-being of others in order for them to be able to inclusive and participate in the effort to sustainable development. There is also economic opportunities. We have to look at the gender equality as well as the social justice. Men and women have to have a equivalent or have a right access, yeah, have the same access. Gender equality are there as well as social justice. And we also have education and capacity building here in, for example, in infrastructure development. Infrastructure development has to also look at both gender equality can benefit all men and women, but most important, we not destroy our environment. Social cohesion is also a must, in which in the social cohesion, local governance as well as decision making are there, driven not only by top level of bureaucrat or by government, but social cohesion will be the resources or the fuel for any decision making for public affairs. And there is also environmental stewardships. This is a long-term perspective that we always have to like taking care of and focus on. Environment stewardship is important, in which we have to always maintain its sustainability. Next, please. Yeah. And the conclusion of my presentation here, sustainable development for community empowerment is a holistic approach that seeks to enhance the well-being and quality of life of individuals within a community while preserving and improving the natural and social environment for current and future generations. This is important. It is a holistic approach. That's why all the aspects are intertwined and have to involving any stakeholders. And this approach also emphasizes collaboration, inclusivity, long-term thinking to create positive outcome for both people as well as the planet. This is important. And in practice, sustainable development for community empowerment requires collaboration among government, non-government organizations, businesses, and community members, in which by addressing social, economic, and environmental dimension, this approach creates a framework for holistic, inclusive, and lasting development. Next, please. This is what we have to do now. So, by my conclusion, I highlight that sustainable development will require engagement of all global governance actors and stakeholders. Participation with equal voice or global partnership is a must. It's very important. And in this, I also would like to ask, next please, last of my presentation, are you individual who contribute to the sustainability of the community and the world? Yeah. Does our institution and does Malaysia to the world? Does Indonesia to the world? And this is like the highlight, the green thinking of green development is maybe one of the answer. The rest is, of course, I will leave the discussion to the audience as well as to the whole debate in these 2 days of conference. That's all from me. Thank you very much. We can provide more education related as well as industrial linkage to the sustainable development. But again, this is the conceptual framework. I do hope we can have a vision out of all. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Master of Ceremony. I return the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, our distinguished speaker, Dr. Sulikah, has shared her insights and expertise throughout her presentation. Dr. Sulikah has reminded us that sustainable development can lead to a profound impact on community development. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give another warm round of applause to Dr. Sulikah for her keynote speech. Thank you very much, Dr. Sulikah, for her insightful and inspiring words.
Thank you, Mr. Abang.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, it is an honor to introduce our second keynote speaker, Yang Berbahagia, Professor Dr. Abang Zainoren Abang Abdul Rahman. Professor Dr. Abang Zainoren now serves as the Deputy Rector of Research and Industrial Linkages at the UiTM Sarawak branch. He actively participates in various entrepreneurship, strategic planning, and innovation programs with federal and state agencies and industries. He has published journals and conferences he has published numerous research papers in high-impact journals and conferences and served as an editor, reviewer, and examiner for academic publications and postgraduate theses at various Malaysian universities. In 2015, UiTM awarded him the University's Best Entrepreneurship Mentor Award. He was later named the Ministry of Higher Education's second runner-up for the Best Entrepreneurship Mentor Award. In 2020, Professor Zainoren received the Best Researcher Award for Social Science and Humanities, the Most Active Consultant Award, and the Best Income Generation Award from UiTM Sarawak branch. On the other hand, he has been awarded Anugerahas Penyelidik Terbaik Sains Sosial dan Kemanusiaan in the Anugerah Academic University AAU in 2021. In appreciation and recognition of his contribution, the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri of Sarawak has bestowed upon him 2 awards, the Pingat Darjah Yang Amat Mulia Bintang Kenyalang Sarawak in 2020 and the Pingat Pentadbiran Awam in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, now let us welcome Yang Berbahagia, Professor Dr. Abang Zainoren Abang Abdul Rahman, to deliver his keynote speech on community development. Professor Zainoren, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I'd like to thank you to the organizing committee for inviting me as the keynote speaker for this wonderful conference. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the university for inviting me also to be part and parcel of this conference. And my topic that I'd like to share here today is with regards to the community developments towards the empowerment of the particular community. For this presentation, I'd like to share our experience that what we have done basically in Sarawak, particularly in Sbuyau, on how we conducted the community development for the empowerment. Next slide, please. Now, basically, how we identified Sbuyau was that is because that way back I'd like to share that way back in 2012, we had identified Sbuyau as one of the potential community development project, particularly in the area of tourism, because it is not far from Kuching and it is one of the potential coastal sub-district that can be developed further by the state government of Sarawak. And we see that this is the opportunity for UiTM to participate on the development of the particular sub-district, focusing to the community in the Sbuyau district. Basically, Sbuyau was a coastal sub-district town developed by the community, primarily inhabited by fishermen and farmers, situated approximately about 2 our drive away from Kuching and capital city of Sarawak. Next slide, please. Now, how we go about to find the area of what are the area that we want to do, what are the area they want to do in terms of the particularly on the community development in Sbuyau. Basically, we have done the identifications of the problems that what we want to do. Basically, problem identification had been done through empirical approach, where we have done the in-person interview among the community and also the government agencies, both the state and federal government in Sbuyau. Next slide. And this is what we have done. This is an example of how we conducted the interview and with the community, with the youth, and also engaging our students and our lecturers, and also the government agency, the NGOs in Sbuyau, in order to identify what are the things that we can do in Sbuyau. Okay, next slide, please. Now, prior to that, in order to go to Sbuyau, we have to travel to Sbuyau by crossing the Sadong River by ferry. In initial stage, basically traveling to Sbuyau necessitated taking a ferry to traverse the river. That is the Sadong River in nearby, and it take about quite a few minutes to cross the river. It reach about it come about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, next slide, please. Now, way back in 2011, this is how Sbuyau looked like, and that's how I looked like when I was young. Basically, it was 2011. We tried to gather information about Sbuyau, and basically how we come up with the idea and how we want to go about with the tourism activities in Sbuyau with the communities. And this is when we conducted the interview with the community during that time. Okay, to gather some information with regard to Sbuyau on what we can do in Sbuyau, basically. Next slide, please. Now, basically, we found out that most of the community in Sbuyau are fishermen, farmers, entrepreneurs, small-time entrepreneurs, and also government servants, particularly teachers, police, and also working in the state and federal agency like teachers, and also the district sub-district office. Okay, these are basically the background of the community in Sbuyau during that particular time when we gathered the information. But that's how Sbuyau looked like those days in terms of the socio-economic conditions in relation to the demographic profiles of the community. And next slide. Now, when we conduct the SWOT analysis, we have found that now community in Sbuyau, we have unique sea product, basically. A lot of unique sea product in Sbuyau, such as the toli shed, the Chinese herrings, or in local we call it as ikan terubok, and also ikan panjang, and some other unique fish such as ikan gonjeng and ikan bulu ayam. And that is the kind of sea product we can easily found in Sbuyau during that particular time. And another strength we identify in Sbuyau is that the community. They are very open-minded. They are very receptive to outsiders to come and assist them, to ask questions, and they like to participate. They like to engage themselves with us. This is the strength of the community that we see in Sbuyau. And then besides that, we have in Sbuyau, they also have this Ulu Sbuyau National Park during that time. It was been declared by the state government during that time. We're going to have this Ulu Sbuyau National Parks. And then one of the weaknesses that we see during a particular time is that most of the communities, particularly the fishermen and farmers, they have low incomes and they're not well exposed, basically. And this can be our opportunities for intervention, basically. And there are some other opportunities that can be capitalized. That is the potential development that we have in Sbuyau during that particular time, and also the scenario of the visitors' arrival trend into Sarawak during that time was on the increasing trend, basically. And this can be the opportunities for tourism activities. Now, the threat is that some negative external influence, like social problems and whatnot, they might take place in Spuyao, basically due to the external the influence from outside. Once the infrastructure are well developed in Spuyao. And also at the same time, the threat is that is the fluctuating price of the commodities, like the products that they have, and also the particularly the sea products, and also the agriculture product that they have. And it's very fluctuating, but like such as the black pepper and white pepper, the price are always fluctuate, and this might affect the income of the community, particularly the farmers. Next slide. Now, next slide, please. Now, this is the example of sea product. We can see that this is the Nipah crab that can easily be catch, and that's me catching the crab in Nipah crab in Spuyao during that particular time. So easy to catch the crab, and I was informed that the name Spuyao is Buyo, which means crab. So it's very related to the particular community town, that particular village during the sub-district during that time. And then next slide, please. And then these are the examples of another sea product. We can see here is the Chinese herring that we call is ikan trubok in Spuyao, and also the ikan panjang that we can see. This very rare. All of these are very rare. They are found in Spuyao. And also black pepper and white pepper are planted along the upper area of Spuyao, particularly by the Iban communities. But most of the communities who are doing the fishing are the Malays. Next one. Next slide, please. Now, to show how open a community, when we visited the longhouses, the community are willing enough to share what do they have to us during that particular time. And this means that the communities are willing to give us some information about, particularly on their culture, on their tradition, and what are the things that they do, basically. So with this openness that they have, so we believe that we can engage this community in order to help them to move forward, to improve their incomes, particularly. Next slide, please. Now, these are the examples of potential tourism market that we have. Visitors' arrival into Sarawak during that particular time. To look at in 2010, it is on an increasing trend, and then 2011 and 2012 slightly lower, but of course it is basically higher compared to 2010. Next slide. This is the potentials of how do you call that, Sarawak. A lot of tourists come into Sarawak. I think there's a lot of things in Sarawak that can be explored and can be offered to visitors into Sarawak. Now, with the developments of infrastructure in Spuyao, with the development of Sadong Bridge during that particular time, and when the bridge is finished, being developed, I think we believe that this bridge can become the contributor to the economic well-being of community in Spuyao, basically. So that's why we think that Spuyao is very significant in order to be developed due to the fast changing and fast development in the surrounding area of Spuyao. And these are the pictures I showed, that is how during that time we travel by ferry. You can see through how the bridge have been developed. That is the Sadong Bridge. Okay, and then basically our focus, our community development focus, basically is our primary focus should be on the improving of existing activities and resources within the community, rather than introducing new initiatives that demand additional time and resources. Basically, why we're looking to this, we're trying to do with what the community have done, what community have been doing. Rather than introducing new things, it is difficult. So it requires time, it requires a lot of resources. By enhancing what the community been doing is the best way to help them to move forward, and it's much more easier to empower them. So that's why this is way that we believe that what the fishermen do, what the farmer do, can become part and parcel of the development, community development that we will do with the community, in particularly in tourism activities. Next one. Now, we are looking into the ecotourism basically during that time, because we're looking into the nature in Buyao. Basically, it's very beautiful for both cruising and photo taking activities, particularly. Now, next slide, please. And then at the same time, after we identify what are the potential in Buyao by doing this SWOT analysis just now, the next stage is to look into the potential collaborators that we have. Those are the local state council members, the YBs, the local YBs during that particular time. That we are looking into the state government, particularly the Sarawak Chief Minister Office. During that time, we call them as the Sarawak Chief Minister Office. Now it's the Premier Office. And also Samarahan Resident Office. And we look into the potential of Buyao Sub-District Office, and also Sarawak Forest Corporation, Sdn Bhd, Malaysia Tourism Board, travel agencies, tour guide association, and federal agencies, and other federal agencies such as Tourism Malaysia, and also the Ministry of Higher Education. These are the potential collaborators that we can engage with our community development projects. This is because that why are we engaging the local authority, the local state council members? It's easy for us to get support from the particular council members. And why are we engaging the Chief Minister Office? So that we are exposed to all information from and also the support, other form of supporting system like financial supporting system, and we are exposed to the policy of the development that is going to take place in Buyao. And why are we engaging with the Sarawak Samarahan Resident Office? Is because that any activity is good for us to engage with the resident office, so that it's easier for us to get a coordination and helps from the resident office with other agencies, because doing the community engagement project, we need to get the support from various agencies. But go through the resident office, we can easily get the support from other agencies with the support from the resident office. Now, next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. When you look at the model that I show here, we're looking into now this is how the model that we have done during that particular time, how we look at how the community development program that we can do. This is where that UITM that we represent engage various players like the federal governments, the state governments, the industry player, and also the NGOs. Why do you want to engage these people? Why do you want to engage this organization and also the companies and also the associations from the NGO? Because dealing with the state government, easy for us to get some form of security support like the police support and also the RELA support, and also we can even capitalize some of the capacity building program organized by the federal government, and also the fund that they have, that we can use our expertise in order to develop Buyao. And also we can participate to a certain extent some policy in Buyao developments by the federal government. And also, why are we engaging the state government in order to organize that, in order to do this community engagement project in Buyao? Is because that they also have the capacity building in other area, and also they have their own policy, and they also have the financial assistance. So capitalizing this can facilitate our program, community development program. And of course, in order to convince them, we have to present some of the proposal to the various agencies. But of course, we highlighted that we had also presented proposal to other agencies like federal and also state, so that they can integrate their contribution with us. You see, things are very transparent on how we do the collaboration with various agencies. Now, looking into the industry player, particularly the travel agencies, the inbound travel agency, they are very experienced in developing tourism package. So that is where they help us to do the product development and also do the networking to sell the product developed by the community and also managed by the communities. And also they can introduce the package to the market to their own respective market. That is to enable us to have the market accessibility. And also, beside that, why do we engage the NGOs? Basically, the NGOs, particularly the tour guide associations. The tour guide associations are very helpful, are very important for community development in tourism sector, because they have the experience, they have the field experience to be shared with the community, which can be the guidelines, can be the experience or knowledge that required by the community to run their own respective projects. And on top of that, they do also have their own networking. Next one, please. Now, what are the development process for community empowerment that we have done? Basically, these are the few process they've done. First, we conducted awareness program. This awareness program been participated by all walk of life of the community during that time. And of course, it had been participated by a few hundreds participants, because we want to know, we just want to create the awareness program of what is basically tourism activity, what are the opportunities for the community to know. And how we finance this thing, it was being financed by the state and also the federal agency that had agreed to finance our project in order to conduct this. After we conduct this awareness program, this in form of seminar, also been participated by various supporting agencies, including the South Forest Corporation, particularly on the ecotourism side, and also the tourism ministry, in particularly on the policies of tourism, and also the Sarawak Tourism Board in terms of what are the nature of what are the demands of the foreigners, particularly on this kind of to a community-based kind of tourism in ecotourism. And also, after we organized the program, we interviewed the participant. Basically, we interviewed the participant. We asked them whether they are interested to become the participant of this community engagement projects. So they fill the form, and then we do the selection. We interview them, and then when we interview them, we select the participant together with the supporting agencies like the government agency and also the Fed and also the association who guided us to select the participant and has some form of potential in order to become the participant of this program. And then along the way in this program, when the next stage is to do product development, we identify the product and develop the product. What are the product? Is the tourism product, tourism supporting product. And these are the things that we did with the community and the supporting agencies. And with the identifications and of products that we had identified, we developed the product further together with the community so that they can run their projects together by engaging with the products that they had developed, particularly in tourism sectors. And of course, along the way, we instill some form of entrepreneurship development program with the community, where UiTM is an expert on this area, and also business management programs, where UiTM is also the expert on this area. But of course, we also engage the industry player in order to look into the practical part of the business management project on the community-based project just now. Next slide, please. Now, how do we expose the community? We identify the community, we select the community, basically. After we select the community, we identify the community, we bring the community. We bring that respective community that we have identified, we bring them to other places. What are those places? Those are in Tebekang. In Tebekang, there's a place called Tebekang in Sarawak. This place is quite during that particular time is quite successful in terms of community-based tourism. And this is where that we show then how these people conducted their community-based tourism and how they organized their project and how they participate in the product that they had identify, and how they commercialize the product that they identify, and how they handle the product. And this is where that in this process, seeing is believing. The participants see how other people do the project, and this is where that knowledge diffusion come in. Knowledge diffusion from those who are engaged in this project earlier, from those particular places like Kampung Terbekang. At the same time, lecturers from various faculty from UiTM and students from UiTM also come in and explain the respective groups of community that we form during the visit to have the better understanding and help them to understand what does and how does these people organize their project, and how these people market a project, and how these people handle the challenges and problems that they identify. Because why we're doing this? This is easier to make the participant understand better in running the project with a limited resources that we have, with a short period of time that we have. By doing this, this engagement, a form of engagement, well, able to make the community understand better in understanding project. They experience it, they see some problem, they see potential of improvement. That is where they can learn. But of course, we need to guide them along the way. Next slide. Now, this is another form of knowledge diffusion by UiTM industry player. This is where that we collaborate with some form of agro-tourism places where the community become the Buyao community become the participant, and our lecturers and the students guide them and explain to them, and also some input were given by the industry player, those who own the project, the agro-tourism project, a quite successful one, to be shared with the community, and how these people organize the product development, and how they create the package, and how do they sell the product, how they do costing. Everything is shared by the industry player during that time. And also, again, these students, our students from various faculty, and also our lecturers from various faculty, shares some guidance along the way with the community. And on top of that, community are being allowed to share, to do the presentation, and how this company, how this agro-based tourism project can improve further their project. This is where that as if they become part and parcel of the project, as if they can contribute their ideas for the industry player. They have how do you call it, actively participated in this project, and I see that this is very wonderful kind of thing. Why? Because they feel that they are also part and parcel of the projects. Okay, and this is where that they are being exposed and earn some form of experience from the industry, and see the problem of the industry and try to solve the problem of the industry. This is the business management kind of perspective, okay, that we expose to the community. Next slide, please. And then, of course, we also look at the frugal innovation and the community development, and how frugal innovation are related to community development. We have to understand what basically is frugal innovation. When you look at frugal innovation, we are looking at the principle where that we're going to use the local unique resources that can be innovated, that can be part and parcel of offerings, isn't it, to solve the problems in the market. And this is where that we try to embed into our development program, where the community try to create their own recipes for menus, handicraft, and create some form of tourism products, and also try to develop tourism package. These are some form of innovation that we try to do among the community, the frugal form of innovation with the community, so that they are very unique in their own way. So that is the example of, that is ikan panjang that I'll share with you. This is very unique. This fish can be found easily in Buyao, this big fish, okay? And it's very tasty, basically. Okay, next slide. Now, this is where the frugal innovation come in. It's where that the community come in and come up with the local resources that they have. We organize the cooking competition, community-based cooking competition. Why are we talking about what cooking competition got to do with tourism activity? Because we have to remember that tourism require basically food and beverages are part and parcel of tourism sector. one of the destination selections made by the visitors is because of the foods and also the beverages. So that's why cooking competition being conducted with the community. How the community can engage their unique resources to be presented as a unique menu, so that the products are very unique. There is very this very, how do you call it, inclined to the local resources. That is very unique. That is different from others. The bottom line here, we try to create as much as differentiation strategy among the product being developed by the community, so that it's not the same with other places, so that they are very competitive. Now, by looking into this, the community are being given the opportunity to do some form of their product pitching, innovation, and do the pitching and do the recipe and explain it to all the judges and also the public that come to the cooking competition. They are allowed to do any form of presentation, and they are very creative. If we allow them to do this kind of thing, they use their own tradition, attire. They even have their own uniform, and they really move forward in order to present it well for the competition. Why? How we create the participation on this kind of cooking competition? We get a sponsor from the industry and also from the government. We organize the competition, and we put a very attractive price for the competition, and a lot of people coming in and really work hard. And what does our student and lecturers do? Our student and lecturers have been assigned to all the group that have been formed, assist them whatever knowledge that they have in order to enable them to participate in the competition, like video taking, doing the pitching trainings with the respective groups, so that the community able to do the pitching in the cooking competitions. Next slide, please. Now, these are the some form of recipes that they created, that they show. And then all of this are something that is very unique in Sarawak and easily can be found in Buyao. Like this, like the freshwater prawn you can see here, and they unique how they presented the product using a very traditional way or very innovative way. It's up to the community and how they come out with the menus of food that they want to offer. Okay, next slide. Now, also in the competition, we asked them to come up with menu for tea break, lunch, and high tea. Why are we doing this? Because these are very related to tourism package, so that they know how to come up with a very unique menu for certain packages. Okay, this is where the pictures are shown here. All the products have been created by the community. You can see at the background of the slide, all of these are a very unique food presentation conducted by the community. Next slide, please. And also, on top of cooking competitions, we also do other form of product development together with the community, particularly the fishermen. On top of that, we organize some form of boat cruising activities, like catching fish, fishing, and if we fish the fish, we can cook in the boat, and how to cook in the boat. And even the community able to show to us how they can share their unique tradition, or how they do the cooking on board, and where we have been exposed, how did they catch the fish and how they cook on board, and how we can do the sightseeing, and how we can take some fruit along the river bank. Wild fruit along the river bank can become part and parcel of cooking in the boat cruising activities. This is where that the community are well versed about the product that they have, and they can share with us. Even they can do the presentations with us. But along the way, how they do the presentation, basically they also had attended some form of communication skill presentation skill by our lecturers, and also they also have attended a foreign language training program by UITM in Mandarin, in Japanese, and also in English, been trained by our lecturers and also some of our students too. And this is how that they have confidence to do the presentations, and also doing the pitching, and also do the storytelling when they cruise along with us in the boat. Okay, next slide, please. This is some example that how we have achieved our activities and product. We do some form of community poster presentation, and this is for us as a unitE lecturers. This is what we have been doing all this while. Okay, next slide, please. Also, at the Longhouse, we also looking into the cultural perspective of the community in the Longhouse. We try to deal with the Longhouse, ask the community in Longhouse what can they do in terms of what they can do in terms of the cultural activities that they have. Also, on top of that, what are the other form of activities that they can do for tourism activities. They share us the tradition that they have. They share us their culture that they have. They share us their farming activities, how they do the farming activities, particularly on planting black pepper and white pepper. And also, they share with us where are the trail and hiking site for us to do hiking activities, camping activities, and also trailing activities in along the upper area of Sbuyau. Next slide. This is the one of the scenery that I have. Most of these pictures are taken by me myself. And this is one of the sceneries, some of the sceneries. This picture was taken in the afternoon after heavy rain in Sbuyau. It's always beautiful. When it's heavy rain in the morning, in the afternoon, you go with the cruising activity. The river are very beautiful. And also, this is how it looked like, basically. And these are very attractive, something like very unique scenery that can be part and parcel of tourism activity. I always basically bring the community together with me in the board and how we do the photo taking and how we document all these photos so that it can be shared with everybody, so that people are keen to come and take photo in these places. Okay, next slide, please. The impact, basically, there are some form of knowledge diffusions. They are corporate. We expect the community to have the cooperative formation, to have the cooperacy, to have the cooperative. But unfortunately, this did not materialize because the community are not interested to form the cooperative. They are interested to do other form of business entity, but we are okay with it as long it is something that they can move in with. And also, after we organize the project, more homestay project had been created in Sbuyau by the community, invested by the community, and more food-based product development being conducted by the community along the way. And also the better income generation, particularly the boat cruising activities and also the boat rental and cruising activities by the community to the outsiders. This way, the income are very good on doing this. And also, I'd like to share with you the pictures there. These are some boat parade that they do in conjunction with 31st August. This is conducted by the community themselves. Last time we helped them to organize things. Now they know how to do their own activities in order to attract people to visit their district. Okay, next slide. Community empowerment is where that we work with the community to create a long-term sustainability plans for their projects. And we never stop. We continuously do it and we empower them. We don't empower them just like that and we leave them. We don't do it like that. We empower them, but we still come back and still engage with them and still try to look into things and how to do improvement with what they're doing right now. And also, we also help them to identify opportunity for ongoing support and self-reliance, particularly on identifying new products, you see, and then developing new ideas for their projects, because we cannot leave them alone just like that. Although they understand basically what they're supposed to do, but we as the institution, as the university, must be there to support them. And also, the commitment to the sustainable development goal, particularly on no poverty. We are focusing on no poverty basically, but of course it might be related to other SDGs. Okay, And also the environment, society, and governance, where the society be engaged in this project, and they are benefited out of this project. At the same time, they are also aware that the environment need to be preserved. Basically, the environment need to be the issue of green issue are very important. Is where the conservation and preservation need to be done, and they are aware about this, and that's why that this community easy to be guided, because they understand the issue of environment and they understand their contribution. And also we help them how to do their business, and we help them to understand how they should do their costing, and that is the how they should do their business activities. Next slide, please. Now, this is what the examples of the industry contribution for the community through our project is where that they help the community to develop the package. These are the examples of the brochures that we got from the various travel agencies that we engage, who helps the community in order in developing the package. Each travel agency have different package with the communities. Okay, and that's how it is. Okay, there's examples that we share on the slide. Okay, next slide, please. Even during the COVID-19, we still, during COVID-19 period, we still work together with the government on how we can still help the community continue in improving the product, despite there are no visitors during that time, no people coming. But that is the time that we try to look and review back what we are doing with the community. We review together with the community to identify the products, to look into what are the things that can be improved, improvised along the way. Although there's no people during that time, we need to support the community before they demoralize. We have to support, we have to conduct this together with them. You see, that's how, of course, the way they're sitting there, it's during the COVID MCO period. See, they're sitting distance sittings, social distancing is there. You see, even in the day one in the hall, there some form of procedures during that time we had to follow due to MCO. But of course, we cannot stop. We have to help the community despite of that scenario. Because why? Despite they are able to generate their own income already, but we cannot leave them behind. We still need to engage them to get more information about the potential products area which need to be improvised, which need to be improved. And we discuss with them, and so that they can solve many issues that they face. Next slide, please. This is examples of the survival village that we look at. This is how the environment in the Malay kampong in Buyao. You see the house are very unique compared to West Malaysia. West Malaysia are different, and other part of Malaysia the houses are different. But this is how the Malay houses in coastal area of Sarawak is high-rise, is raised from the ground. It's not on the ground. They are raised on the ground. Because why? Our tradition, we build this kind of house before this, and it become our tradition. We are very inclined to this kind of development. Because last time we are always flood, water flood, tide. That's why the house is raised up. But of course, it become part and parcel of our tradition in our house design in the rural areas, particularly in the coastal area. That's all from me. Okay, that's all from me. Again, I'd like to share with you again, that is, despite the empowerment, the community that we met, the empowerment, the university role doesn't stop there, basically. We still need to come back. We still need to understand the environment that they face, internal environment, external environment that they face. We still need to intervene. And also, we still need to discuss with them, because we still have knowledge, we still have experience, still have network they can share with them, with the community particularly. Although we empowered them, although we have slowly released certain things together with, to the community, but we cannot leave them behind. You see, we still need to come back and give our help whatever we can. That's all for me. Wabillahi taufiq. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, Let's take a moment to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Professor Zainoren for gracing us with his remarkable insights and thought-provoking perspectives, particularly on community development in Sibuyan, Sarawak. We are truly privileged to have had the opportunity to learn from his wealth of knowledge and experience. Throughout his captivating presentation, Professor Zainoren has emphasized the importance of keeping the engagement and discussion with the community to ensure continuous development. Thank you once again, Professor Zainoren. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, I will now introduce the third keynote speaker, Dr. Esyin Chew. Dr. Esyin is the director of Eureka Robotics Center with more than 80 service and healthcare robots, one of the 11 specialist robotic centers in the UK for research facilities. She is a reader in robotics and educational technologies, recognized by UK and Welsh Parliament as expert for AI and COVID consultation, and a keynote speaker at many international conferences and seminars in robotics and edtech. She has published over 140 project outputs, including quality international journal articles, book chapters, conference proceedings, media and press coverage, and 5 national policy impact publications. Driven by a passion for innovation and relentless pursuit of excellence, she has led numerous government and industrial funded projects in the UK, EU, Australia, and Malaysia, funded by the Welsh Government, British Council, and the Alan Turing Institute. She is a remarkable individual who has made significant contributions to the field of robotics and healthcare integration. Prior to her academic career, she was a software engineer at Acer Group Malaysia and eBusiness Limited, contributing to the development of the first Malaysia online banking system and web-based executive information system, EIS, back in the 1990s. With the numerous awards and accolades, including the Vice Chancellor's Excellence Award of Research Innovation at Cardiff Met University in 2018, her work has contributed a great impact on the field. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, now let us welcome Dr. Esyin Chew to deliver her keynote speech.
Hello, thank you, Shamimi, for the extensive introductions. Pleased to meet you and thank you for UiTM's invitation for this keynote. I was here from the beginning to listen to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Dato' Dr. Haja, about the visions of international collaboration, as well as Dr. Sulikah for her work in Indonesia, and Professor Dr. Zainoren for the marvelous work in Sarawak. It's so inspiring, and I believe we can learn from each other. I'm Esyin, so I would like to continue the story for sustainable pie for women in STEAM H. STEM, A is agriculture, H is healthcare. It's a project funded by British Council that bring women, not excluding men, Wales and Malaysia in robotics and AI innovations. I'm currently working at Cardiff Metropolitan University, which is the year 2021, the best university awarded by the Times Educations. I'm not quite sure. Can I move the slide myself? I think so. Yeah, good. So I just focusing in 4 quick points about us, who I am, who we are, about the robotics center that I founded and directed, and the cultural preservations with robotics and AI innovation inspired by the Welsh ladies, and then the community that I developed now, and some reflections on what works and what's not working. So I'm currently based in UK, Cardiff. If for those who don't know where UK is where the Wales is. Cardiff is the capital of Wales. I'm currently having my summer holiday in Malaysia, in PJ now. So this is us. We are one of the 11 facilities in the UK, the only one that specializes in service and social robotics. And our strength is to bring robots into the real world. We have over 90, I think it's over 100 now, service, social robotics, and educational robots that we bring to hospitals, care home, cafe, restaurant, as well as our labs, to let people feel good, explore, as well as to train the nurses and doctors to integrate thoughtfully for healthcare. I have a team of leadership in my center, focusing in various area. We are open for collaborations if there's any area that's hitting or any synergy to you. For example, biomedical, for example, STEM workshops, for example, refugees camp, feel free to contact me or my team. This is our campus. Through Associate Professor Rosita, you invited me to these keynotes. Rosita's visited me before, and she can tell that it's a very green campus. Therefore, we are awarded this year. We are very proud to be awarded the top university in the UK for sustainability. How this is achieved, I think, is a teamwork, the group community work of all the staff, from the top management to the students and the support staff, to develop a sustainable environment to all the stakeholders within and outside the university. One thing that's relevant to us that I would like to share with you is the sustainable growing future gardens that recently been built in the last springtime. We have this smart garden built in our universities. Just maybe quickly, for those who handle this, can you help me to click on that video to share with you? You can click directly to the third minute, minute number 3, to see some of the video that our students, as well as the School of Arts and Design lecturers, built the whole smart farm board in our university. I think I can't click that. There's a video embedded. Can someone help me to click that? Okay, I think maybe something wrong. Let me. Okay. Interesting. So it's different from what I have shared through the Teams. Because if I share it, the video will directly play. But doesn't matter. If I can't, unfortunately, if I can't play the video to you, this is a farm bot that is basically a semi-autonomous AI kit that it can plot the maps of the seeds to find the best actions. You can plant the seeds, you can flower the seeds, you can even video the seeds, and you can do it from the simulations. You can control, manage the sustainable future farm from home, from your office, which is quite a breakthrough environment for us. Okay, if for those students, for those participants who do not know these people, they are the 4 Welsh ladies, quite famous Welsh ladies that have the cultural preservations and heritage management for UN, the United Nations, that I would like to share with you some of the story. In 100 years ago, these 4 Welsh women's peace, they have started off a peace petition. Coordinate the Welsh Leagues of National Nations Unions was signed with nearly 400,000 women of all the American and Welsh, the Leagues nations, in 100 years ago. Not just Wales, in Wales, they go door by door, knocking the door, asking women to sign for the peace petition to stop the World War I, because most of them are the wife of a soldier, or the daughter of a lost dad, or a sister to a lost brothers. So the map shows they even flew to the United States in 1924, the following years, to took Welsh women's peace tours and sent the petition to the president of America at that time. This is some of the photos that you can see at the front of the march. The 4 ladies bring the women from North Wales, where I am living now, for the peace movement. I would love to show you the video, but I think through this platform I couldn't. If I can click this, it will show you some of the videos, but doesn't matter. They just give you a glimpse of the women's peace pilgrimage, aka women's peace in 100 years ago. And in that movement was finally realized after World War II with the founding of the United Nations. So, aka these women are the earlier founders lead to the founding of United Nations and UNESCO for world education, for world peace, as well as the Wells Center for International Affairs in Cardiff. This was last May 2023. 100 years later, the Welsh government contributed £150 to finance the return of the checks and the petition. So that 296 petitions that signed 100 years ago was located in the United States, in the UNESCO, and then now transferred back to Wales at the University's library, Albert Swift Library, for digitizations. So this is a big thing for us in Wales. Why I'm telling this story to you? Simply because the similar story, the similar community started off also be inspired by the cultural preservation, heritage management with sustainable pie for women in robotics and AI. 2 years ago, I started with a proposal together with Associate Professor Rosita, thinking of how do we gather together women in engineering, women in mathematics, women in science, women in robotics, women in AI, to get together, Wales and Malaysia to get together for partnership in employability, in educations, and for mutual support. So that's how we started off the idea of the PI program. Even before PI program, I received some funding from the Welsh government to introduce thoughtfully healthcare robotics and services into hospital and care home. And then British councils pumped in some money for PI 1. PI 2, we extended to healthcare and agriculture at the time. And also I received the funding from the Alan Turing Institute in the UK for public engagement to bring robots AI into the public audiences to patients. And that is the value of PI for Women in STEM that we started off 2 years ago, which is to establish links with one another, which it will enable through funding for short-term industrial and academic opportunities and real field project deliveries. Real field means real impact to students, to females, pupils, to underprivileged communities, to academics as well. The rationale behind is because this percentage of ladies, female engineers, female robotics researchers are very small. It is even smaller for top management level or senior level position like Vice Chancellor, Chancellor. I'm so glad to see that we have a Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, Ladies Chancellor in UiTM. I personally met her before last year. The numbers even lower 5 years ago, few years ago. Therefore, there are many initiative efforts that would encourage girls and young women to excel in STEM employment. That is our kind of problem statement. So this is my objective, capitalizing the 6 universities, 2 from UK, myself and York, and Oxford Robotics. And then this is PI 2, added in 2 more. And then 4 in Malaysia, and 1 in Indonesia, BINUS. So 4 including UiTM, UMP, and USIMS is from PI 2. And I also engage with the hospital, the Helbot in Cardiff, and Alfie Hospital, the private hospital in Malaysia, and Esyin and PPUM now, the public arms. What do? We would like to capitalize 6 universities, both UK and Malaysia, aiming to enhance employability, enhance women development, from skill sets to knowledge to network. We would like to build capabilities to establish strategic links. That means we currently develop and sign off MOU, MOA across these universities between UK and Malaysia through the current industrial partners or academic partners. We also encourage development strategically, significantly for collaborative research projects, dual PhD, probably dual master dissertation, as well as STEM workshops to schools, to kids, to underprivileged communities like Orang Asli. I also provide funding through British Council short-term insights placement. So I invited over 20 women and men come to visit me at Eureka Robotics Centers, and I personally bring a few students as well as my colleagues come to Malaysia, which can be productive and long-term relationship building, team building. Okay, So all this is capitalizing Cardiff Met H values, a series of ethical, digital, global, and entrepreneurship skill set to develop women in STEM confidently, resiliently, and experiences. And this is just the beginning of the PI program. Our target group is girls in B40, underprivileged students, as well as academics, as well as female healthcare leaders at all age groups. Some of the logos of the partners that you can see here. The idea actually came from about 6 years ago when I published documents at the UK Parliament's AI Select Committee, that I have a dream that every hospital or every lab, every computer science lab have a robot companion. It's not a cool killing robot, but a robotic assistant that could be installed either in hospital or home to assist us, to enhance us, to give us a pair of wings, and to bring down the cost of robots. I believe the cost of robots is very high now, and there is so the years, the long-term research and design that me and my center are focusing in on. And I would like to share that to Malaysia partners and vice versa, to learn new things from Malaysia partners, especially in healthcare perspective, since this is one of our strengths across the UK Robotic Research Group. How to sustain and move forward. I just want to share some reflections of the sustainability women in defense. I think quite coincidentally, same concept with what Professor Abang just shared earlier about the top-down, the policy impacts. Our program is successful because of the top-down support. I have attended a few roundtable discussions with the VCs across 16 universities in UK and 20 universities in Malaysia, in UK. And we received support from the Department of Education in UK, as well as the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Education even in Malaysia. And your SecGen even flew over, and the Ministry of Education also flew over before to UK last 2 years to sign off MOU with UK policymakers. So this top-down impact and the funding from decision makers through British Council to individuals, funders, holders in the universities are very, very helpful. The signing between the SecGens and the universities with us actually, synergize, catalyze as a catalyst of change to our program and to our university. And this is my VC. This is the VC of USIM. And I look forward to have the similar event in November at UITM to sign off the MOA with UITM. Secondly, I do think that any sustainable community needed required public impact, real impact. I know most of us, we are academic, we are researchers. Papers, Q1, Q2 papers, publications are very important for us, for promotions, for our impact. Yes, that's no doubt of it. However, the UK government, something we call REF, Research Excellence Framework 2028, is moving away from just publications. We have our book, that's fine, but more weight, more gravity is putting under public impact. Have us, researchers, the brains, the elite, turn our research, turns our hard work, turns our finding, turns our contribution, new contribution to knowledge into the real public impact, either to influence the people that you serve, to impact to the community that you do, to impact, to change, to make even a little changes to the scientific communities that doing the similar research to you. So the public impact is our strength, the PI program strength, as well as my center, UGALP Center strength, is to thoughtfully integrate robot AI into the real world. More on from the fundamental research to applied research. I believe MIRA, Malaysia Research Institute, is also towards that impact factors of the research. So to give you some glimpse of what we do in Wales, so we deliver robots to infections, prevention, control measurements. We purchase and modify different disinfection robots. I also partner with a far UV disinfection company that have a very specialist far UV disinfection that has our own home-built far UV disinfection robot that will be groundbreaking research. We also tested it with nurses, with therapists, with workers, with cleaners to understand the housekeepers, the maximum efficacy or things that doesn't work, things that works. We have developing now more results from the public acceptance, social inclusion training perspective, and the whole framework as well. I believe other than the top-down and public impacts considerations, the peer industrial like collaboration is also essential. If our research sits within the publications without industrial collaborations, I think academics' view of the sites are still narrow-minded. So as a sustainable PI program, I try to connect the partners from partners from UMP with my current existing hospitals partners, so they could possibly work together and to expand their horizons in Malaysia and in both in UK. I also invite Malaysia, this is a Malaysia nurse, quality nurse from the hospital, over to me 1 week to experience our work there. And she also received my students from Wales. We fly to the hospital in Malaysia to understand the problems and even meetings with different people. This is assistant professors coming to us to our care home to see those robots that integrate in the care home and meeting the carers. I believe through the healthcare robotics research, this is what some of the in progress key success that we have engaged over 100 healthcare staff. We deployed 9 healthcare service hospitals in 3 hospitals and care home. We delivered, I think now is more than 30 training and public awareness seminars, and also development the quality, try to understand the markets, because we are not business people. We are academics. We try to have diffusions of technology, high tech to high impacts. To my PhD student, David, who is also the project manager for this social enterprise activities. We also commercialize our work to a UK research company called API Robotics, plus with the whole teams of support, both academic collaboration as well as social enterprise activities from this year onwards. Last but not least, which is the human-centered approach to AI in education. UNESCO, which is the foundings from the Welsh Women's, leading to the founding of UNESCO. Under digital learning and transformational educations, they highlighted that AI in educations call for a human-centered approach to AI. I repeat, human-centered approach to AI. Everyone maybe like AI or scared of AI now, but UNESCO and us, Eureka Center, we are committed to supporting member states, including Wales and Malaysia, Indonesia, South Asia, to harness the potential of AI technologies for achieving Education 2030 agenda. But that has to be came from the human approach centers. For example, we partner with USIM, trying to develop technologies, robotic technologies for OKU people, the human centers. We try to have this is a cooking robot, it's still in R&D, cooking robots to help those elderly people that forgot how to cook, step-by-step guided cooking, as well as home health care for home vital sign measurement in one robot, and we try to put the price down. Other than the research itself, we also do a lot of STEM education with robots. This is one of the examples that I invited the 3 universities academics from Malaysia over to Cardiff Museum. 1 day workshops to deliver their experience, AI, 3D printers, 3D pen, small little robots, drones, to the Welsh ladies, Welsh female girls from the valleys. Valleys are those underprivileged communities that they stay away from Cardiff, valleys like Kampong. So they were amazed, those girls that came. Just show you a few photos that what we do. This is the academics from They use Chongkak from Malaysia toys to inspire the Welsh girls for mathematics learning. Wow, this for me is also mind-blowing. This is Associate Professor Dr. Nushikin. So she used, I think it's DJI drones to teach simple Scratch programming to the Welsh students. These are 3D pens by Associate Professor Rosita and the students. And in the same trip, I also organize and bring them to also Robotics Institute to understand, to expand different types of world-class robotic research, AI. In the same trip, I also invite the academics from Malaysia to share about their STEM journey. How do they become a successful associate professor, Rosita, like that, the STEM star in UiTM, or the STEM star in UM, the STEM star in UMP, which is a very excellent knowledge exchange and mobility to understand each other's strength and learn from each other and collaborate with each other, connect to each other. This is Professor Rosita's to share the UiTM journey in Cardiff Met, in my universities in Wales. Likewise, you also invite us, Malaysia academics will invite us to come to Malaysia for the similar Pi STEM robotics projects or workshops. I remember this is last month in Putrajaya. We really enjoyed that, and we start to introduce our first robot, Xiaolongbao, which is a really small little cute robot. I also been invited to UMP, to Pahang Pekan last week to deliver similar things there. These are the JPN in Pahang, and they are secretary as well as the coach of the teacher trainers. So we're not just trainings at the pupils directly, we also hope to engage with more teachers trainers so that a wider engaged public impact can be there. This is a meeting last month in MC, PPUM, with the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, where we try to hopefully can have collaborations for healthcare robotics and make PPUM maybe the first hospital equipped with the AI and service social human robots from Wales. We are meeting it again this week and next week quite aggressively, and together with the AVC of Professor Yvonne, for various underprivileged communities engagements. I welcome you to join me. If you are interested in STEM workshops, if you are interested as a supportive environment for women, so ladies, feel free to scan this code and to join the Pi program. You will receive some of the invitation for different events, for possibly funding opportunities, possibly dual PhD, dual master opportunity between the universities of UiTM and us at Cardiff Met. So feel free to join us on the website. Men not excluding. We always say it's men is very important to support the program. As a concluding remarks, the Pi program that I'm just sharing with you is bring together women in robotics and AI from diverse backgrounds: engineering, robotics, AI, science, parasitologies, medicines, doctors, form an innovative community, forming inspiring collaboration towards creating a self-sustainable and innovative future. Although the funds will end this year, but I believe the community will sustain in the coming 5-7 years because we signed off MOA for various projects. Through the inspiration of the cultural preservations and heritage management between Wales, remember the Welsh woman that lead to the founding of UNESCO. I hope that our Malaysia Wales robotics and AI innovation story continue with that values. And last but not least, the Pi for Women community with top-down public impact, industrial collaborations, and human-centered AI approach in STEAM education will make us at the front of the march. With that, I would like to end my presentation today, and thank you for your participations. Again, welcome for questions, and that is the QR code for you to join us. Thank you.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, we have had the privilege to learn from Dr. Esyin's remarkable insights and perspectives. Dr. Esyin emphasized the importance of creating opportunities, inviting us all to embrace networking and collaboration as we work towards a more inclusive and resilient future. Let us express our sincerest appreciation to Dr. Esyin for her invaluable contribution to this conference. Thank you, Dr. Esyin.
Cheers, bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, the third keynote speech marks the end of the first session of today's conference. After the lunch break, the parallel sessions will commence. So please stay on to listen to the interesting presentations lined up for you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed participants, the journey ahead is filled with opportunities to learn, connect, and innovate. So let's embark on this shared endeavor with enthusiasm and determination. Thank you for joining us at the opening of the International Conference on Sustainable Development for Community Empowerment, unitE 2023. Let the exploration begin, and we'll see you again at 2 p.m. Before you leave, we would kindly request for you to scan the QR code for the attendance. Thank you very much.